do a roll call? Thank you.
Yes, I can. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for your waiting and patience. So now we will do the roll call. Please confirm your presence saying here or present, or stay if you are alone or with someone with you. And make sure your camera is on. Okay. Okay, Rebecca is here. Mai Yunwan.
Present, and I'm
Okay,
alone.
thank you. Tammy Oyatomari Chan. Tammy Oyatomari Chan. Timothy Osoda.
Both Timothy and Tammy are not in attendance, but I'm here from the department. Lisa Watkins Victorino.
Lisa. Okay, thank you, Lisa. Okay, and next one, Fan Sivirata. Steve Sakamoto.
I'm present and just myself in the room here.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Eugene Chan. Central Furuto. Thomas Lee.
Present, and no other individuals in the room.
Thank you. Kamala Walsh. Representative Amy Peruso.
Here, and there are no other individuals in the room with me.
Thank you. Last one, Tony Indu. Okay.
I'm here and no one else in the room.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. We have 6 members present. We will still proceed to the next agenda item. So we will turn to Chair Rebecca Chan.
Actually,
Yes.
sorry, since we have
Yes.
Lisa attending in place of Tammy and Timothy, we should have quorum now.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. And we will move on to the public testimony. Individuals may provide oral testimony on agenda items. So is there anyone from the public who would like to testify? No. Okay. Now let's move on to the next agenda item. Review and approve March 17th, 2025 meeting minutes. Is there anyone from the public who would like to provide testimony on this? No. Okay. Does a task force member have any questions or comments regarding the March 17th, 2025 meeting minutes? No. Okay. So if there are no questions, may I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
I second.
Awesome. Thank you. So all those in favor of approving the minutes, please raise your virtual hand. Awesome. So I get 5 and myself. 6. Awesome. Yeah. Anyone oppose? No? Okay. So minutes are approved. We'll proceed to the next agenda item. Let me share my screen with agenda items. Do you see my screen? Yes, awesome. Okay. So we want to provide the status update on the data and AI guidelines for state departments approved during our December data task force meeting. We have 7 data and AI guidelines approved by the data task force. One, the general AI assistant technology guideline was sent out to all the department heads by our comptroller through a memo. And for all the other guidelines, we ETS have already reviewed it, and Lisa reviewed for us, and we will be publishing them shortly onto the website. Now let's move on to the next agenda item, which is the Data and AI Summit. Let me go to the screen. We had the Data and AI Summit on May 14th. It was a huge success. We have 30 more people attended this year compared to 2024, which was our first one. And thanks for the support from the Data Task Force members, we actually had a general session on Hawaiian Data Task Force. We received overwhelmingly positive feedbacks after the summit. Someone mentioned about the Data Task Force session, saying that very helpful to learn about the existence of this task force and the kind of questions, issues they are working on. So we will ensure our team follow the guidelines established by this task force, and really helpful to hear about tales from the field, for example, Department of Health. Thank you, Steve, and Tori, and Thomas. Thank you so much. And if you were at this summit, you probably noticed the difference between the first summit and this year's summit. The first year's summit, people are more cautious about the data and AI, especially AI. This year, people are eager to improve operational efficiency, government operational efficiency using AI. So I think we all together did a good job on educating and sharing information about data AI in the past year. Thank you. Now let's move on to the next agenda item. Update on AI training for state and employees. Christine and I worked with DHERT, and we added AI training from different vendors to the state employee training catalog. Also on our website, we added AI literacy training there as well, where we used the Google AI Essential Training and Google Prompting Essentials Training, where state and government employees can register through a Google form. We validate their, the Google form will validate their email address, making sure they're from government. If they are, they will be able to successfully register the training offered by Google through Coursera. This is all free for the state employees. Any questions or comments? All right, so we'll proceed to the next agenda item, which is update on Department of Health on ethnicity data integration. I see that Derek, the Chief Data Officer from Department of Health, is here. So Derek, I have this screen, which is the SPD 15, and I have this screen, which is the details. Do you want to provide an update?
Maybe the first one?
First
Sure,
one,
of
okay,
course.
awesome.
Yes, here to provide an update from the DOH, co-chairing with Rebecca, the 21st Century Data Governance Task Force. We've met over about the last year based on the legislative ask to look at race ethnicity standards across different state agencies. That's included DOH, ETS, DHS, Office of Planning, UH, and DOE at a minimum, and some other outside stakeholders. We were looking at what the potential issues were in trying to come up with standards, in particular for race ethnicity, but also for other social determinants of health. We in particular focused on SPD 15, Statistical Policy Directive number 15 from federal OMB. which is a required standard that's been in place for a long time, but was updated within the last year, 2024. They issued new guidance that then is going to be required to be carried out by all federal agencies that then impacts all states. Due to challenges in getting additional funding for this initiative to go through ETS, we really limited our final recommendations to this SPD 15 because it is a very big task to carry out standardization of this kind of data. I want to thank all the members of the committee who participated, and I think our final conclusions are to make a series of recommendations to the agencies to focus on SPD 15 because that is the federal standard for race and ethnicity, and it is much more inclusive now with the 2024 revised guidance. And there are different federal agencies that are implementing this with associated timelines that require us then as state agencies, in particular the agencies that I named, that have a significant amount of federal funding to comply with SPD 15 and ensure that, to the point of why we're all here, that we're best meeting the needs of our residents and are not collecting different data sets in different ways. Rebecca, are there other things that you would add relative to this or others? I know Lisa and some others have participated in the task force meetings.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. So I think this movement, this update was pushed by Hawaii led this effort, right, for this change at the federal government level. Because we, disaggregated ethnicity and race information is can benefit our citizens a lot because we have such a diverse population. Yeah. And this slide, actually, this page website, SPD 15, has the detailed information, what it should be, what it should entail in the future to be in compliance. Like Derek mentioned that we will share this information with departments, but each department might need to assess their current systems and the current data collection process and how many systems are impacted that should collect more disaggregated race and ethnicity information, and would there be any resource requirement? So hopefully in the upcoming budget year, you can finish that assessment and propose for resource request. Derek, does it make sense? Is this?
Yes, thank you, Rebecca. I think that's a good summary of where we landed on this. There are significant potential resource requirements, but those are specific really to each agency for the most part, because this impacts each of the large systems that have person data within each agency. And so there are issues around data collection, standardization or alignment of those data sets, and then reporting out on. And so we identify that there will be a series of next steps that each agency will have to go through, and then ideally report back to this group as to how that's going, and see what potentially additional resources could be provided either to the agencies or through ETS to work on this more in the future. And Lisa, please speak up as a member of the committee.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that one of the things we have to think about, so this is the minimum. So the OMB guidance is saying there's a minimum level of data that you need to collect. And so the way that it's been done here, when you look at this census form is, or the OMB, how they're doing it for the census is they've got all these categories that are under the larger categories. So like for Asian, they have a breakdown. And that's the minimum. So states can actually do more than that. And so I think each department would have to, we're hoping that they would do the minimum at least, which is the updated standard. But if there's more that they can collect and kind of have conversations with other departments about what they're collecting, how they're collecting it. So this is the minimum. The other thing I wanted to mention is one of the things that for Hawaii especially has been something we've talked about and want to gather more information on is whether or not folks are allowed to select multiple races. So, our population is very diverse, very multiracial, and so whether or not folks are allowed to select more than one, that's something that would have to be, I think, looked at as well in different departments, I think, and different programs within departments have different approaches to that.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, different programs, different departments, they might have different compliance needs and different business requirements. Yes, Representative Peruso.
So, sorry, just to get clarification, these OMB guidelines apply to all departments and agencies, but the agencies and departments themselves can determine the extent to which they're gonna follow these guidelines?
So the federal agencies that are funding some of our programs, they identify sort of how they apply and when and how they're applied. And so there may be differences, say, for DOE versus for DOH or DHS. And so that's part of the consideration.
Okay, and then does this also apply? I'm thinking in particular of HPD and the kind of data that they gather. Would this apply down to the city and
Yes.
county level?
It would, as they receive federal monies or federal grants. Yes, it would
Okay,
definitely apply
okay.
to our Department of Law Enforcement.
And is there, sorry, last question. Should we be thinking about legislation that is in conversation with these federal guidelines that establishes kind of our state expectations, or is there?
Yes.
Okay.
Ideally, what we would love to be able to do would be to better collect this data in the same way across state agencies and start to standardize. You think that would probably be a better way of helping our residents on the whole over time, but understanding that there's a cost to trying to align these data sets. And so it's something you want to be able to point to over time.
Right, but also like if you model it really clearly in a pilot and then extend out as the efficacy is kind of proven, that might be a way of doing it. I don't know, but okay, thank you. I
Yes.
would like to talk more about the legislative piece at some point.
Sure,
Yeah,
we'd be happy to meet with you to discuss that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it up, Representative Peruso. Actually, we discussed it during the 21st Century Data Task Force meeting, right, Derek? We talked about it. It would
Yes,
be
we did.
ideal. Yeah, it would be ideal if we can have a statewide way of collecting such information and then centrally, then disperse that information to the departments. Instead of each department taking their own effort, some of the efforts could be duplicated to collect such information. And then each resident would be outreached only once by the state to provide that information instead of I'm reached by different programs within each department to provide additional detail about my ethnicity. Every time they're asking me when they have a project, that will be ideal. But like Derek mentioned, we do need resources to do that.
That potential approach that we were talking about in the committee might reduce the burden on residents if this data were able to be collected once on how to contact them or their race, ethnicity, or their preferred language, so that when we do go to reach them for services that they're asking for, we know how to reach them the same way one time, and we're not, culturally inappropriate.
Yeah, exactly. And in the meantime, we can save the cost for the state as well. So instead of everyone, updating our programs to start collecting additional information, we do it once, then you just share this central place, just share the information with each program. That'll be it. Then they collect the information. But we do, yeah, so this is something that the Ledge can help for sure. Yeah, we do have it need a resource to do the work. Yeah. All right. Any more questions on this?
And I would add,
Yes.
I would add to that, Rebecca. Yes, that's definitely everything we talked about, but equally, I think to the point that you were making, Representative Bruce. So this would be the kind of thing that we would pilot, maybe with 1 or 2 agencies, and then grow over time, just to show how it could be most effective for the community.
Yeah, exactly. And the compliance requirement for federal is 5 years from last March or this last March, right?
Yes, this past March.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we still have 4 years to do that. Yeah. All right. Any additional comments or questions on this topic? Is there anyone from the public that would like to provide testimony on this agenda item? No? Okay, we'll proceed to the next agenda item. During the last Data Task Force meeting, we talked about this Senate Bill 742 on data sharing. It was signed by the governor on June 3rd or June 6th. So now it's Act 154. What this act is that it established from the workforce development perspective, it established a working group for data sharing, separate from the data task force, to discuss about the actions and the plan on statewide data sharing. This is not a permanent working group. If you look at the very end, this working group shall cease to exist on June 30th, 2027. ETS provided testimony for this bill. We requested for 2 resources we need to facilitate this discussion. But I think the 2 resources didn't end up in the final act. Yeah. There are several things we need to work out here. One is how do we get this work done with no additional resource? And second is how do we collaborate between this working group, temporary working group, and this data task force? I think we can all think about it, and hopefully we can have a plan for collaboration for the future. And in addition to this bill, our budget request, I think June 6th, governor submitted a notice of intent to veto on the entire state budget. I think this is the reason is because of the potential federal budget cut. So we requested 4 resources and the tools for master data management, for data governance, which improves the privacy protection, the classification of the data, as well as the quality of the data management, plus a data sharing platform where people can securely share data with alignment to all the federal, state laws and compliance requirement, with the transparency on why we cannot share certain data. So the tools, the resources for tools and for the 4 team members are in this part of this budget. And hopefully in the fall, we'll find out whether we will be able to get it or not. Any questions or any comments on this agenda item? Okay, so let's move on. Let me go back to my agenda. The next one is about our plan for the fiscal year 2026. What we would like to focus on is, one is to update the state data and AI strategy. Now we can have more flavor of AI. because with the education of AI, with acceptance of AI, now with the use cases of AI, and with the availability of AI agents to automate certain processes and to improve the operational efficiency, we can have AI can play a bigger role in this overall data and AI strategy. We will update it this year and working with the task force to review and update it. We would like to support departments on AI use cases, including AI-powered self-service, the intelligent chatbots, the conversational AI, automation of the workflows, and predictive analysis to improve efficiency, enhance our service to our residents, and enable more proactive support for our case managers and our workers who work with supported residents. This is the biggest theme during this year's Data and AI Summit. Currently, we're working with departments on pilots, including conversational AI, so we can quickly answer questions from our employees. We can improve the response time to our employees when they have questions. Employees doesn't have to dig through all the documents, watch all the videos in order to figure out how to perform one task. And the AI chatbot would be able to provide that information. We're also looking to automate current processes, including the ones using paper documents, where AI agents can read through the paper documents and provide feedback on what information is missing, so can generate a draft email for our government worker on what information we need to ask for, what additional information is missing. So the decision is always on the government worker. Humans always in the loop. The government worker will review this email, review the content, and send the email out. And once the document is complete, the AI agent can help the government worker process this document. So with this, we will be tracking the impacts created by each use case. For example, it could be the processing time of certain document, could be invoice, could be application from like 7 days to 7 minutes, hopefully. We're looking for those proofs with those pilots so we can show the actual impacts and the return on investment for all the AI tools. Any questions or any comments on this? Yes, Thomas?
Thanks for the update, Rebecca. I'm looking forward to working with the team on the updated FY26 data and AI strategy. I just have a question on the website. I think it's a really good job on for the user to scroll through the strategy. But is there a hard copy or a PDF version of the strategy that someone can download and can disseminate, or is it just the interactive version on the state data website?
Oh, we don't have a PDF version yet, but we could add it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And in that case, the website can always have the up-to-date strategy. Then the PDF version can have all the history, right? 2025, 2026, all the strategy. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the advice. Yeah, this is a great suggestion. We will do that. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, let's move on to the next agenda item. We're working on creating a data and AI tool evaluation template for departments. We received questions from departments. The question is, hey, we have this AI tool, can I use it? So we need to create a decision tree on how do I assess first, is this AI tool safe to use? So what are the things to watch out for to ensure the privacy protection, the data protection? And in the meantime, is this tool adding value? What's the return on investment on this tool? So we're working on the decision tree to give departments a guideline on that. We're also going to work on guidelines on data sharing, which was in our original plan from last year that need to be done this year. We're working on that guidance, and we're recruiting a data and AI accessibility and equity manager who would help to lead the accessibility for departments and the equity for departments. Yeah, because we have a diverse population from the data point of view, looking at equity and looking at accessibility, we can view where our population are who need certain language accessibility and what's their age group. Are they school kids? Are they more seniors who need more health care? So we want to make sure that we have informed way of approaching accessibility and and equity at the state of Hawaii. Any question or comments on this agenda item? Okay, so the next plan is hopefully we can get a budget approval, then we can execute on it. That including we do the master data management, data sharing, and then we can do the data governance, start cataloging all the data, classify the data, and supporting departments to do all that. So hopefully we can have that, have the opportunity to work on those areas with a budget approval. All right, any other questions or comments on our plan? Any other suggestions on what we should focus on for fiscal year 2026? You don't have to tell me now. If you have any suggestions, please email me. Yeah, we would love to make sure that we have a plan that address the most important issues. Lisa, yes.
I was just wondering, are you going to be collecting data and information on, earlier you were talking about, we're going to be able to have training for state employees. I'm just wondering if you're going to be collecting some information on, how many folks are taking advantage of this, that type of information, just so that we can then see if we need to, do a little bit of push out in our departments to get people more comfortable, because I think one of them is AI literacy. So just getting folks comfortable with that. So it would be good to know kind of, some data around who's using it, what are they finding, that kind of stuff, just basic evaluation stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a great suggestion, and we will do that. For the AI literacy training that's available on data.hawaii.gov, we will be able to get information from Coursera on the information. And I believe for the DHER training, we should be able to get that as well. Yeah, we will do that analysis and report out and adjust our plan as needed so we can outreach to more state and government employees. Yeah, thank you. A lot of valuable feedback and the suggestion advices today. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Any other comments or questions here? Is
One
there
other
anyone
comment.
Yes.
I would add, I think data literacy is just as important in those standards as AI literacy for the general state workforce. So if that curriculum is being developed, probably including both data and AI literacy.
Yes. Yep. So we do have a data literacy some contents on the website, but it's very basic, short videos from YouTube. We obtained approval from the content owners. We probably need to do more comprehensive ones. Maybe we work together on that, Derek.
Be happy to work together on that. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Any other comments or suggestions or advice or questions? Anyone from the public that would like to provide testimony? We'll proceed to the next agenda item. The next announcement. Are there any announcements or anything the members would like to share? Okay, so our next meeting is in September 15th. Please, members, please email me any suggested agenda topics before, like 1 month before the next meeting, so we can make sure we incorporate them in. And I will email the agenda items, proposed agenda items to you, to all the members as well, so you can provide your advice and feedback. We should be able to have the updated data and AI strategy for review by the data task force member by then. All right, any questions or comments or suggestions on this? No, okay. All right, so if that's the case, then the meeting can be adjourned. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
I second.
Okay, thank you so much. So if there are no objections, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Oh, by the way, thank you so much, our Lisa and Christine, and our Lisa and our Joanna, adding the structure, more structure to our meeting. Thank you so much. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.